5 o'clock, I will call the meeting of the Waxahachie Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Please let the record show we have 6 trustees in attendance. Mr. Rogers will be joining us at a later time. Also, let the record show this meeting has been duly called, and notice this meeting has been duly posted for time and manner required by law. At this time, we will go into closed session according to Section 551.001 et sec of the Texas Government Code. It is now 5 p.m. We're going to reconvene back into open session. It is 5:43. This time I'm going to ask Mr. Schofield to lead us in our invocation, followed by our pledges of allegiance and to the American and Texas flags by Brooks Authier and Harper Harrison.
Father, thank you for the opportunity to live in a country where we can gather and serve our community. Please bless our students, staff, population, our community members that are here, employees and board members to serve you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
We'll pull the microphone down so we can hear you. So y'all get right here by this microphone and then start the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Can I take your picture? You guys did such a great job. I'm right up here. I'm going to take your picture real quick.
Our vision is to be a district where innovation thrives and growth is limitless.
We value choices. We value choices because they make us unique and are critical to learning.
We value a collaborative culture that honors and supports all who positively impact the lives of our students.
We value an environment of belonging that respects individual differences and ensures equality for all.
We value relationships that broaden learning experiences and enrich our community.
Okay, at this time, we're going to skip over recognitions. We need a few more minutes for some other ones to arrive. We're going to move into item number 5 is our open forum. I believe we have one speaker signed up to speak tonight. When I call your name, if you'll please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please. At that time, you will have 5 minutes to speak. I will let you know when there is approximately 1 minute remaining. Mrs. Nora Christ.
My name is Nora Christ. I live at 1903 Alexander Drive, Waxahachie, Texas. And I'm here tonight to give a heartfelt thank you from substitutes across the district for the very generous praise that you gave. It touched my heart. It made me feel appreciated, and I just cannot tell you how much it is appreciated. And just to give you kind of an update, we seem to have plenty of subs this year. I see very few schools. I don't go to very many, but the ones I've gone to seem to have all the substitute jobs filled. I see lots of new faces. So I just want to say great job and thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we're going to move into item 6, reports. Report number 8, letter A, be superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we do each month, I wanted to share with you our monthly enrollment and average daily attendance for the month ending September 30th. As of September 30th, we ended the month with 10,821 students enrolled with an average daily attendance of 10,082. We are at 95.08 attendance, which is better. It is not great, but it is better than where we've been in the last couple of years. So we're moving that ball in a positive direction. I wanted to share with y'all also, this is a screenshot of our scoreboard that we have with our principals every Monday morning. I meet with our elementary principals along with Ms. Mott and Dr. Beneker. We meet virtually every Monday morning to kind of get our week off on the right foot. And then we do the exact same thing with our secondary principals starting at 9 o'clock. So elementary is at 8, and then our secondary principals are at 9. What you see here is their principal PLCs. These are their walkthrough commitments that they make for the week. And what they do is we meet together. They make a commitment as to how many classroom visits they're going to make. And then we keep track of that on a scoreboard. This morning, we moved our Monday morning meeting to Tuesday because we were out of school yesterday. And our elementary principals have exceeded the goal that they set for themselves for halfway through the semester. So it's been a really good process and one that really keeps us focused in on the right work. I wanted to talk to y'all about district growth as we are presenting it to not only external groups, but also to our teachers and our staff in my campus rounds. And it occurred to me that I needed to share this with the board collectively because this is something that we're having conversation with our staff all the time. We're growing, and we're growing a lot. Our current growth, we're at 10,000. We are just shy of 10,840. We were at 10,834 as of Friday. And I will tell you that that's almost 700 students more than we ended the school year with in May. And that's more than a school's worth of kids in 5 months' time. This represents 6.7% growth. We anticipate a 9% student growth throughout this year. We anticipate that we'll hit over 11,000 students this school year. And to give y'all a frame of reference, we hit our 10,000th student last September. So we're getting close to 11. Our future growth projections, 31-32 school year, we anticipate we'll have over 17,000 kids in Waxahachie ISD. By the 36-37 school year, and now I'm going to put an asterisk by anything beyond 10 years. It gets harder and harder the longer you stretch it out. But by 36-37, our current projection is to have over 22,000 students. And by the 41-42 school year, which sounds forever away, but I will tell you the class of 2040 for Waxahachie High School, they're in the cribs right now. There's one at your, I don't know if y'all figured it up at your house, Judd, but Henry, I think's class of 39 or 40, one of the two. So those kiddos are here, and we anticipate to have over 26,800 kids in the 41-42 school year. This is another thing that we're sharing with a lot of our external groups. This shows where we fall in the Dallas-Fort Worth region. Dallas-Fort Worth is the #1 fastest growing region when it comes to new housing starts. And you can see where we are. We're at 10,030 annual starts. Annual closings are at 10,072. But I want you to look over to the far right column. Futures refers to current slated, already on the books, future planned lots. And that's 26,958 that are already on the books as far as futures. This is another map that I think really speaks to our situation. A lot of people don't realize how big the footprint of Waxahachie ISD is. Most people think of Waxahachie ISD of being the same footprint as the city. The city of Waxahachie is 51 square miles. Our district is 192 square miles. We're almost 4 times larger than the city of Waxahachie. That yellow star that you see right there is the land that y'all recently purchased, that we purchased as a district about 8 months ago for the purpose of a second comprehensive high school and junior high #4. I wanted to show this one. This is another really good comparison that we've been giving to our folks in the community. This is to show the size of Waxahachie ISD. Some people suggest that we should have a single high school like Allen, or a single high school that's a 9-10 campus and 11-12 campus like Carroll. But I want you to notice the difference in footprints of Allen. Allen is 29.3 square miles. South Lake Carroll is 20 square miles. Prosper is a little more similar to Waxahachie. Prosper has a 58 square mile footprint. Prosper has 2 comprehensive high schools, and they're currently building their 3rd comprehensive high school. Waxahachie has 192 square miles, and I share along with that, we will need our second 3,200 student building in the mid to late 20s. We will need a third 3,200 student high school in the mid to late 30s, okay? Where we got 3,200 student high schools, that's what we have. Waxahachie High School has a maximum capacity between 3,200 and 3,600 students, and that's verified by our current architect, not the one who designed it, okay? And then finally, impact of growth on district finance. This is another thing that we're sharing with our staff, and we really want our community to be aware of, is that it's true that people have paid more in local property tax bills. In fact, 14.1% is the increase in local revenue as a percentage of total revenue due to property value growth. We have taken in more money from local tax dollars. What people don't realize is the second column. 14.5% is the corresponding decrease in state revenue as a percentage of total revenue. So what I share with our staff and with external groups is, as our local property tax revenues have increased, the state has at a proportionate rate decreased its state aid to Waxahachie ISD, which means that we are not awash in cash, which is kind of the general feeling. What are y'all doing with all that money? Well, the state has reduced their aid to us proportionately. The other thing that I share with folks is that if you go back in history, about 20 years ago, the state was picking up roughly 60% of the cost of public education in Texas. Local taxpayers were picking up 40% of that cost. Over the past 20 years, that has shifted. The state is now picking up about 40% of the cost of public education, and local taxpayers are picking up about 60%. Why do you not hear from this from your legislators? Because this is a good system for the legislators. Because right now, the folks down at Whataburger, when they talk about their taxes, they are upset with y'all. They're not upset with the legislature. And it's because they do not understand, most people don't understand what's on this slide right here. And that's something that we're trying to kind of make sure people do understand. And so the last thing I wanted to share with you, we are sharing with our community and with our staff the work of our long-range facilities planning committee. That's 75 folks who represent our community, our students, our teachers, staff members. We have retired educators on there, business leaders, and community leaders. What we plan to do is to bring to y'all in December a plan that will address our growth over the next 10 plus years. Mr. Calden prefers me to call that a 17,000 plus student plan, because as we know, sometimes projections are not perfect, but it will get us roughly through the next 10 years. Our community has told us, don't bring us a 3-year plan. They don't want to know how we're going to get over the next hump. They want to know long-term what our plans are for facilities. So we would plan to bring y'all a plan in December 12th, to be specific, and then we would anticipate that you could potentially call a bond in February of 2023, with a bond election potentially taking place in May of 2023. And so that's really, I wanted y'all to be up to speed on what we're sharing with our community and with our staff. Any comments or questions from y'all?
Dr. Collingsworth? Okay, thank you for.
Where it says we anticipate 9% student growth this year, and I've forgotten, and Brian, you told us this, but our budget is based on
So right now, our budget's based on enrollment of right about 10,800 students. And that's about, we're looking for about 95%. So that's why Dr. Hollingsworth is hitting on those.
Turn your microphone
It's
on.
on. I'm looking at the red button.
He's saying he can't hear you.
You're just waving at us. Sorry.
Okay, let's try it up here. I don't really build our budget based off enrollment, because I honestly don't care. I need students in attendance to make our budget work. But if I back into, I have an ADA of 10,250. If I back that into 95% attendance, it's an enrollment of 10,800. And so when Dr. Hollingsworth is talking about, here's our enrollment and here's our attendance figures, those are numbers that I'm really caring about. Those are the ones that I'm looking for. So 10,800 at 95% makes the budget sound.
Yes, sir.
If that is answering the question.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we hit that 9%, our budget will really look pretty good.
So that 9% is year over year. So that's looking at that snapshot date in October. And so last year, our snapshot day, our expectation is to grow 9% from last year's snapshot date, which realistically, we're probably pretty close to at this point. Snapshot's going to come up on the last Friday of October, so we'll have a good comparison of where we were and where we are at our November meeting.
I think it's real important to keep impressing upon parents how important it is for kids to get to school, because just like Dr. Hollingsworth was saying, that ADA is so important. Just have to keep impressing that, because that's how we get our funding.
Yeah, and people say, well, cynically, sometimes people will say, well, y'all just are interested in my kid coming because of money. I'm interested in kids coming because we can't teach them anything if they're not here.
Right.
And they don't grow if they're not with us. And the other reason I'm interested is 1% increase in average daily attendance roughly equals about $1 million to our budget. And with $1 million, I can hire 20 teachers. So it makes a huge difference.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, can I just add, if you're concerned about, having, sending your kid to school because they want the money, I mean, where would your kid be otherwise?
Exactly.
You know?
That's a great point. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, next item on our report will be the informational overview report of WISD's campus improvement plans and WISD's district improvement plan for the 2022-2023 school year. Smart?
Good evening, School Board and Dr. Hollingsworth. Our district and campus improvement plans look a little bit different this year. We went through a revamp with them, and that was based upon our work with the district balance scorecard. So you see there on the left, that's what's driving our new district and campus improvement plans, is the work that we've done with the district balance scorecard. So to give you an idea of what the revamp looked like, here is the first page of the balance scorecard. And you can see in that very first column, we have the priority. Priority number 1 is student growth. Those priorities from the balanced scorecard, there are 4 of them. They will transition into what used to be the goals for the district and campus improvement plans. They'll now be the priorities listed on the district and campus improvement plans. And so you see that there, student growth is priority number 1, and then here is the first page of the district improvement plan, and you see that priority 1 up there at the top, student growth. And then I also have an example of Marvin Biomedical Academy's campus improvement plan, and you see that priority 1 up there, student growth once again. And then if we go on and look back at the balanced scorecard, the performance objectives are listed there in the second column. Those also transfer through to both the district and the campus improvement plans. Later on this evening in an action item, I'll be asking you to approve our performance objectives, and those go across all 3 of these documents. So we took the performance objectives, put those onto the district improvement plan, and you can see that listed there. And then we built our strategies from there, and those strategies are also coming from the district scorecard. The only difference that you'll see is on the campus improvement plan, they take the performance objective from the district balance scorecard and the district improvement plan, but their strategies are tailored very specific to their campus. So this is an example from Marvin Biomedical Academy, and you can see that their first strategy is transitioning to Biomedical Academy with an emphasis on STEM health science instruction with zoned and lottery enrollment. So very specific to Marvin Elementary, Marvin Biomedical Academy. Remember that those strategies, those are living pieces. They can be modified and changed throughout the year with the Campus Improvement Committee, with the campus principal. And so we don't ask for approval of those by the board because those can change throughout the year, but those performance objectives and the priorities will not change throughout the year. So that's kind of our new process in a nutshell there. I will tell you I was very excited about this process because our campus administrators, they pretty much inherit their campus improvement plans. They get it from their predecessors. And so they go through every year with their committees and they revamp them, they revise them a little bit. But this was a great opportunity for our campuses with their committees and their campus principal to go through and start really from the ground level up. We put together the priorities and the performance objectives, but they got to go through and build their own strategies. So I think that lends to a lot of ownership for our campuses and a real understanding of how their campus improvement plan works and how it works to improve their campus. Can I answer any questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I want to say I love this.
Oh, great.
I just love how everything connects. I think that's so important. I do have a question. Underneath on the balanced scorecard where it talks about special ed, WISD will not exceed the state percentage of identified special ed students by, what is the percentage and what are we?
So about 11% is the state average. We are over that quite a bit. That's not unusual across the state right now. A lot of school districts are struggling with this as we come out of the COVID times. I will tell you that our new special education director, Miss Mandy Chapman, she is currently working through a process to help streamline our identification process, and I mean streamline for helping principals and teachers understand what needs to go into that referral before we test and making sure we have all the data that we need to make the best decision for kids. Is this a tier 1 instruction issue or is it truly a learning disability issue? And so she is working really hard on that. She put together a group of focus principals last week to look at the process that she'd like to put in place to vet it with them before we introduce it to the larger group in October. She is very strong in the area of assessment, and so we think that this will really help us to truly identify kids that really need those special education services versus kids that need maybe just a little more time in the classroom and some strong tier 1 instruction to get them up to where they need to be.
And how much did you say we're over?
We're running about 14.5%.
Because when it said by 2026, I just wondered how far we had to go.
I think that by all the things that we are doing this year, we are putting some incredible resources and supports in place on our campuses. And then with Ms. Chapman being so strong in the area of assessment and identification of students, I think that will really help us get toward that goal.
Okay. And I just had one other question. It's on, just a second. The Lou. What is that? I've never heard of that.
All right. The Lou is an exciting, interactive piece that we use for PE at Marvin. If you have never gotten the opportunity to observe that, I really encourage you to. It projects up on a huge wall in the gym, and it's very interactive across different curriculums. So they could be bouncing a ball and hitting like multiplication facts, and the ball is going up, and they've got to hit the ball onto the target for the right number. It's interactive like that. It's an amazing piece of technology that Marvin Academy was able to obtain, and I would really encourage you to go over and check it out.
I will, and
It's fantastic.
it's just Marvin.
Right now, it's just at Marvin. Shh. They'll all want one soon.
It sounds like it. How
Yes.
expensive is it?
It's a little pricey.
Do you know about what it is?
I don't. I wouldn't have
Okay.
it.
I will go check it out.
Yes, do. It's really neat, and they are very proud of that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions I can answer?
Thank you very much, Ms. Mont. Okay, we're going to go back up to item number 4, agenda item number 4, recognitions. Ms. Bridges, we have several recognitions tonight.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Hollingsworth. Yes, we do have several recognitions this evening. First, I would like to invite Fine Arts Director Sean Cagle to come up and recognize the Coleman Band.
Good evening, Board, Cabinet, Dr. Hollingsworth. tonight. I would like to help in recognizing Mr. David Ingram and Mr. Armando Vera. They have trained and led the Coleman Junior High Band to compete among the highest-ranked bands in the state and the nation, based upon live, continuous performances done during the 2021-2022 school year. These directors and their students were awarded 9th place in the state at the Texas Music Educator Association Band Competition. Furthermore, these recordings were also submitted to the 2022 Mark of Excellence National Wind Band Honors Project, sponsored by the Foundation for Music Education, and in this competition, they were recognized as a national winner, which puts them in the top quarter of 376 entries from 39 states. Mr. Ingram, Mr. Vera.
Board, next, I'm so excited, and we have a number of National College Board recognitions for Global High School and Waxahachie High School, and I'm so excited to invite Ken Lynch up to recognize the students from Global High School. Where is he? There he is. Come on up, Mr. Lynch.
I want to see if we get all the parents inside.
Okay.
Global parents, want to come on in? Come on, guys. You guys. Global parents, want to come in? Thanks for bearing with us real quick. Thank you. Okay, I think we're ready. I just want to say that we're really proud of all these students who are, have earned their National College Board recognitions, and we want to honor them tonight. We'll start with the National Hispanic Recognition Award, Mr. Daniel Chavez. Zachary Dally. All right, Valerie Espinoza. No, Valerie's here somewhere. Aramis Fernandez. Maya Gus. Fernando Jimenez. Natalia Martinez. Gianelle Rodriguez. And Michelle Salas. Okay, for our African American Recognition Award, want to honor Noah Alexander, Reese Dean, Isaiah Shorter, Gabriel Stewart, and Tiana Wise. And we had one National Indigenous Recognition Award for Michael Lee, but he was not able to be here tonight. Thank you very much.
All right, next I'd like to invite Tanya Harris to come up. And, well, if I can, there we go. No. Okay, there we go. And again, we'll hold our applause until we finish each section.
It is such an honor to celebrate these students this evening. This is some of our brightest students here in Waxahachie ISD, and it is great that we get to celebrate them. First, we are going to celebrate the National Hispanic Recognition Award, Isabella Acala. Some of our students are involved in other activities tonight and could not join us. Owen Bartosh. Martin Calderon. Katrina Canute. Sarah Castaneda. Taylor Cavazos, Samantha Coronado, Garrison Escobar, Kelly Jenkins, Joseph Jimenez, Brianna Padron, Natalie Rosales, Camila Rosas, and Miranda Rosas. Next, we will be honoring our National African American Scholars, Amira Bell and Chloe Ridgway. Our national Indigenous Scholar is Lisa Cleaver, and she was unable to attend this evening. Next, we have National Rural and Small Town Awards. I'm not sure how much longer we'll be able to do this one, but it's exciting that we get to celebrate these same, and some of these same students will come back with, and join us. Elizabeth Ocala. Amaria Bell. Mariah. Sorry, my bad. I'm Mariah. I apologize. Sarah Castañeda. Samantha Coronado. Garrison Escobar. Kelly Jenkins. Joseph Jimenez. Vivian Keelan. Aletha Martin. Amber Morgan. Claire Moriarty. Brianna Padron. Chloe Ridgway. Natalie Rosales. Miranda Rosas. Philosophy Smith. Ava Workman. And Journey Verbeck. Next, we have a commended scholar. Journey Verbeck could not join us this evening, but she received a letter of commendation from the National Merit Scholar Program. And next, we have Morgan Lillemond. Morgan is our National Merit Scholar finalist.
Certainly a lot to celebrate with these smart kids. Board, next, I am very excited to recognize Ms. June Flowers. Ms. Flowers, if you want to come on up. Yay! Board, Ms. Flowers has been working with special education students in WISD for many years. She has made a commitment to support students through Special Olympics, and through that hard work, she was chosen as one of 3 Texas coaches to be a member of the 2022 Special Olympics Texas USA Games team. So she traveled to Orlando over the summer with the team for competition, and we are just so grateful to Ms. Flowers for her hard work and her dedication to her students and to the Special Olympics program. Congratulations, Ms. Flowers. evening, I'd like to invite Ms. Kate Authier, principal of Wildman STEAM Academy, to come up.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Hollingsworth. Thank you for giving me the chance to celebrate one of our very special Wildman staff members this evening. This person gets to work bright and early before most of us at Wildman. She has been with us since day one at WSA 5 years ago. She works tirelessly to ensure that our students are nourished each and every day. Not only does she serve all of our students, she also knows their names and builds positive relationships with them. When students go through the lunch line, they are greeted with a smiling face at the register, ready to help them. Most of the time, she already knows their snack preference. For example, my son's blue ice cream order. She happily participates in our dress-up days and decorates the cafe lunch line regularly. Right now, it's all decked out for Halloween. The kids often comment on how much they love the decorations and are sure to let her know. For our cafeteria transformation this semester, she served a special menu item for the occasion, as well as continually had fresh bread ready for the tables for each class to make it extra special. I have seen her leadership with her cafeteria team. She has a heart for serving others and making sure that Wildman is a great place to be. We couldn't imagine life at WSA without this person and are grateful that she is a part of our Wildman family. Our WSA Staff Spotlight this month is Miss Myrna Mendez. Thank you this evening for allowing me to share some of our campus highlights at Wildman. So our first campus highlight this morning, or this afternoon, what are we in? This evening is our Watchdog Program. So Watchdog stands for Dads of Great Students. We're currently in year 3 at Wildman with our Watchdogs program. It would be year 4, but we had the year of COVID where we couldn't have any visitors on campus. It is a national program, and the purpose of it is to enhance our community and parent engagement and involvement. So it involves positive male role models for students. So we have fathers, grandfathers, uncles, father figures in families, and they can spend a full or a half day on our campus, whatever their schedule might allow. And activities that they do with our students, so sometimes you'll see them mentoring one-on-one or with a small group of students. They work in Creation Station, which is a makerspace on our campus that's always very busy. So they do crafts with our students, they read with our students, they volunteer in the cafeteria, they monitor our hallways to help with safety and security. They play games with students in PE and much, much more. These are some pictures from our Watchdogs program. So at the top left-hand corner, you can see that's Miss Lavender. She leads our program. She's our awesome counselor and started the program on our campus. And next to her with the glasses is Mr. Benson, and he's what we call our top dog. So he coordinates it with Miss Lavender, and he'll text our dads and say, hey, remember you're volunteering tomorrow, or we can't wait to have you come volunteer on campus. And Mr. Davidson is also in the picture with her as well, and he helps too. So this year we had our biggest turnout so far since we've been doing it. We had 80 dads and granddads attend our pizza night, so you can see it was full. We even had a lot of families sitting in the bleachers because we had more dads than we had space. And Mr. Bailey's down the bottom quarter, that's Creation Station. We've had 5 volunteers so far this year, and of those dads, some of them have come back multiple times. So since we've started in September, we've had dads every week, which has been really cool. These are just some more pictures. You can see different dads that have volunteered with us, different things that they do. We also always try to snag a picture of them and their child. And we do have those Watchdog shirts that they can purchase that the kids are always very, very proud to have their dad with them on campus volunteering. Our other campus highlight is our 3D printing program. This is led by our very talented Mr. Burkhalter. He is our music teacher, but he's also our resident technology expert. So he does all things technology. He's wonderful at that. And he's led our 3D printing program. So we have 2 3D printers that were donated by our PTO last year. And since they've been donated, our students have taken off with it, and it's because of the leadership of Mr. B. They follow the engineering design process. So they all have their engineering design notebooks on our campus. They put their ideas in there and make their designs, and then they go through the process with Tinkercad, which is the program that we use to 3D print. It ties in with what students are doing in the classroom. For example, with art, if you look at those twin towers that are in that picture, students have to figure out what shapes to make those towers. They don't just come ready-made. So they have to actually design and measure. He encourages them to get a ruler out to make sure that it comes out the way that they want it. They use Google Classroom to submit their designs to Mr. B, and then he prints them. And students incorporate them into their projects in the classroom, like you can see up there. That bottom picture, it's very tiny, but it's a Liberty Bell, so that went in with their social studies. The students get to choose how they incorporate it into their projects in the classroom. And what's been super cool this year with our core value of collaboration is our 5th grade students and our kindergarten students have buddied up. So during the morning time when our teachers have the PLC time that we've allotted this year, our kinder and 5th grade teachers are on the same day. So those students partner up, and on the week that they're with Miss Songer and Mr. Burkhalter in the library, they're teaching them 3D printing. So the 5th grade students are partnering with the kinder students, helping them go through their designs and then make their own prints. So our kindergarten students this year are going to have their own 3D prints, which is really cool. That's going down to kindergarten. These are just some pictures. You can see Mr. B leading the group of students. Those are our 3D printers, so we invite you to come by Wildman anytime and come see what's printing. He also puts what's printing today on those little signs you can see. What he's holding in his hand, that's Mr. B, is a sample of what comes out of the 3D printer. And then he breaks all those apart and delivers them to the classrooms. So it's pretty cool to see what the students come up with. They're very creative. We did have WISD 101, that group come visit us this year. So the top left-hand corner, you can see our kids were explaining to a guest what they're doing in Tinkercad. Then you can see some science charts that the students did and 3D prints that they put on those. There's kind of hard to see on there. And then that's our 3D printer in progress. And top right-hand corner is the drum set. So again, it's just really neat to see what the students come up with. And we do have a gift for you this evening. So these are 3D prints. Mr. Burkhalter made these, and they're Christmas ornaments, and it's the WISD logo. So we hope that you enjoy those, and that reminds you of Wildman, and remember to come by anytime. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Board and Dr. Hollingsworth.
Okay, moving back under our reports will be item C, the informational report on the WISD Balanced Scorecard Priority 1. Dr. Averett?
Thank you, Board. Dr. Hollingsworth. I can't believe everybody just left and didn't get to hear this riveting report. Yeah, they can watch it online. Thank you. We are here for the second edition of our Balanced Scorecard report. If you remember last month, we talked about Priority 2, which is honoring supporting staff. This month, we're going to focus on Priority 1. You've heard several references to that already tonight. Priority 1 is student growth. And we kind of, in this business, a lot of times we like to say keeping the main thing, and that is the main thing, right? It's growing students. In our Priority 1, we have 4 performance objectives. Number 1 is that every student grows academically every year in the core. Number 2 is that every student understands the expected standards of behavior in the district and feels that their safety and well-being are a priority of the district. Number 3 is that every graduate is college, career, or military ready, and that our CCMR numbers increase year over year. And number 4, annually increase student involvement in extracurricular, UIL, and co-curricular enrichment activities. So again, Priority 1, student growth. We want to look at every student growing every year in English, language arts, math, science, and social studies. So one of our key strategic actions is to use multiple forms of data to respond to student performance. On the left, you'll see several of those forms of data. You've heard references to MAP tonight. We have interim assessments provided by the state, DRA, EDL, Circle for pre-K. But the main goal is, for our long-term desired outcome, we would like WISD to be an A district by 2025. So where are we now? We're a B. We've been a B before COVID. We're a B. We're a B now. But you can see there in the middle at that school progress, you can see why we have a focus on student growth, because academic growth is an area where we didn't do as well as we'd like. We can see our graduation rate has increased by several percentage points over the last 4 years. It's to 95.7%. which is really good. We can see our CCMR rate is about 65%, which gives us a scale score of 91. We're going to reference that later as we go through the report. We talk about student growth. One of the ways that we look at student growth is through MAP and MAP assessment. This is a chart of fall to fall analysis, fall of 21 to fall of 22, comparing student achievement. Okay? So if we look at this, at the top, you have a legend up there: low, low average, high, high average, average, and null. What null stands for is a student that wasn't with us last year. We don't have a score for them. Okay? So high would be in the 81st percentile and up. High average, 61 to 80th percentile. Average, 41 to 60. Low average, 20 to 21 to 40%, and below average is 20% or below on this assessment. One of the things that's up there in the text box is that Dawn Hilbert, and she's here tonight, she has worked tirelessly to make data easy for us to see and use and digest. And she's put together dashboards for us. This is the second dashboard that she's put together for us. The first one she did was she took our campus and district survey data and put that into a dashboard that we can track year over year. She's also created a dashboard for our MAP scores, so campuses can go and look specifically for their campus, look at their kids, and track how they're doing. So it's been a lot of hard work, but a lot of great work from her. Here's another piece of that MAP data where we're looking at BOY, beginning of year MAP testing for this fall. The chart to the left shows the number and percentage of students who scored at each level of achievement. So when they took the beginning of year test, you can see per campus which students on that campus scored at the low average, the high average, and the average. And then there's the null is also green. There's very few of those, but they're kind of sitting there at the very top of that list. And again, I went over a minute ago what the percentile rank is for that.
Dr. Avery,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry, back on that screen. It has Waxahachie and Waxahachie. What's the order on that?
Global, and then Waxahachie High School.
Okay. I'm seeing it somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay, it's global and then Waxahachie High School.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good question. All right, performance two, objective two, priority for student growth. Of course, every student understands the expected standards of behavior in the district and feels that their safety and well-being are a priority. You see a lot of the progress measures and these are the outputs. This is what we're looking at, frequently. That we review and analyze student data behavior. We do that on monthly. Mr. Perry provides you guys with a report every month about where we are with certain types of offenses. We look at our attendance data very, very frequently at the cabinet level, at least every 2 weeks. Campuses are looking at it daily most of the time. We want to make sure that our kids understand and we have a good way to address some of their emotional needs. We've done a lot of work in the district over the last couple of years with adding those counselors that we have available. And that we talked about in one of our previous board meetings, how we've actually increased the number of days per week. I know it was kind of confusing, 25 days in a week, but that's how they kind of measure that. But that's how much more we're putting into making sure we're taking care of our kids, their social and emotional needs. 1.2b talks about how we monitor tips received via our Tip 411 program. A lot of things I'm proud of at WST. One of the things we talked about what the School Safety Center recommended that we do this past summer. Many of the things they recommended we were already doing, including having an anonymous tip system where people can give us a tip anonymously and we can look into it. We can respond back to that person and then investigate it appropriately. And our fantastic partnership with Waxahachie Police Department that lets us do that anytime we need to. Our long-term desired outcomes over there on the right-hand side. For WISD to have an ADA of 96%. We were about that 95%. Dr. H said a minute ago, every percent's about $1 million in our budget. Every $1 million is about 20 teachers in our budget. It's that important. However, I know, and Ms. Starner, I loved your comment a few minutes ago when you talked about if they weren't in school, where would they be? But one of the things that I really want to emphasize is, yes, it's important for our funding. However, when students miss school, it is devastating to their academic progress. Some of the research on that says that a student who's missed 4 to 9 absences a semester has about a 63% chance of graduating high school. That is significant, okay? So it's really about the students' ability to be successful and their own economic ability after that, because we all know that is correlated, so that attendance is that critical. We would like to establish a partnership with a mental health care provider. We're working on that as we speak. We do not want to be staged in the RDA system for discipline. That's when we look at when we have an overrepresentation of certain groups for disciplinary consequences. That doesn't mean we're not going to do discipline, because we are. When students need to be disciplined, we are going to discipline them, because we know that if we don't have any discipline on our campus, it's awfully hard to get that hard work done. However, we also need to make sure that while at the same time we're doing that, we're finding ways to reward students for good behavior. For example, Findlay has the Findlay 5. They had a celebration last week, and they have 5 characteristics on their campus. If every student that meets those 5 characteristics gets recognized for that, okay? The high school is putting in their silver, gold, and platinum plan for students who have good grades, good behavior, and good attendance, and that's rolling out. As soon as we can get our badges for that, we're working on it. It's been, supply chain issue right now. And so we're trying to do that on both sides of the things. We want to have discipline in our classrooms and our campuses, but at the same time, we want to reward kids for the good things that they're doing. We want to have maintain a properly trained threat assessment team. And when we do surveys of our students, which we do every year, we want at least 90% of our students to say they feel safe at school. Okay? That's another one of our long-term objectives. So I've kind of talked about this already, about how ADA is impacted. This is an example of the spreadsheet that we look at that is maintained by Mr. Avenshine's office. As you can see, if it is pink, it is below 95%. If it is not highlighted, it is 95%. And if it is highlighted green, it's over 97%. Excuse me, yeah, 97%. So as you can see, certain days of the week are better than others. Typically Monday and Friday are rough. Sometimes half days are tough. We saw that a couple weeks ago. But we also see campuses that are really doing great things with their attendance. Global is definitely working very hard on that. We can see Wyoming, of course. Dunaway has done a great job with their attendance. And so part of that is making those personal contacts with parents and making sure that kids know that when they miss something, it's important. Another progress update about making sure that we take care of our drills and do things right to keep kids safe. We had a quote, live incident drill at Waxahachie High School a few weeks ago, where we had a lockdown drill where we had one of our assistant principals pose as a threatening person. We initiated the duress system, and when we did that, Waxahachie PD patrol officers were able to respond and gain access into our building and report to the place of the threat. So you can see that top picture in the middle there in the green shirt is Thomas Griffith. He is the Emergency Management Director for the City of Waxahachie. Mr. Perry's there in the yellow. Assistant Chief Dale Sigler's in the blue shirt. There's a patrol officer. I do not know his name. Mr. Frisbee is there in the green. And then, of course, you see Tanya Harris. They're all monitoring that duress app. That bottom picture is what we would call an after-action debrief, where we had everybody that was involved in that particular drill go over everything that happened, what we could improve, what we did great, what we want to do better next time. You can see Waxahachie ISD security folks, there's high school administrators, PD, patrol officers, even DPS troopers responded to the scene for that drill. So it was a very successful drill. It was an educational drill, and one that I'm sure we'll continue to do. 1.3 performance objectives. Every graduate is college and career or military ready, and our CCMR numbers increase every year. So lots of progress measures on this. Conduct informational sessions across grade levels on advanced academic and college pathways. We know that those decisions don't start when they get to high school. Okay, kids have to be thinking about that advanced track, and parents have to be thinking about it way before they get to high school. Because if they don't take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, it's pretty tough to get to that in the top 10% rule, in the state of Texas. So we want to be making sure that they understand that early. We want to monitor our enrollment in AP and dual credit courses. We've seen a decrease in dual credit enrollment the last couple of years. We want to fix that. Now, we want to find out what the problem is. Is it monetary? Is it the TSI test? What is it, so we can make sure our kids have an opportunity? Because it is a great bargain for parents, to our kids to have dual credit courses. Looking down there at the bottom, we are working on establishing an elementary and junior high accelerated math and science course sequence so that we can even bring some of those kids down. We had one national merit semifinalist tonight. Waxahachie should have way more than that, because we have the kids. I know it. we should have 5 or 10 of them up here. And one of the ways we can do that is to accelerate their math instruction, because math is an area on the PSAT where we have seen not as good scores as we'd like. Okay? So that's one of the many reasons, but one of the reasons why we're looking at this. Establish the criteria for selection of accelerated math. We got to figure out how we're going to select those students for this. Clarify course selections and increase participation in ACC, SAT, TSI, and increase our AP test achievement of 3 or higher. Why do we want to do this? What are our long-term outcomes? Increase opportunities for parents to learn about academic opportunities in beginning in elementary school. Increase the percent of students enrolled in advanced courses. You know, are they enrolled in 1? Should they be enrolled in 2? Can they do 2? Could they do 3? You know, we want students to challenge themselves. In WISD, we want to improve our enrollment in institutions of higher learning from 56% by our last taper to 65% by 2025, which is 11. It says goal, that's incorrect. It's 11% higher than the state's average is what we'd like to be in that. One example of what we did recently is we in Waxahachie hosted the Ellis County College Career Fair. Several years in a row we've done this as a collaboration with multiple school districts in our area. The college recruiters would like to make 1 stop instead of 5 or 6 stops. It's economical for them. So we have this event at the Waxahachie Civic Center. Over 100 colleges and universities, trade schools, branches of the military are there to meet with parents and students to tell them about their opportunities. It is a very, very popular event that happens every year, and a lot of folks really take advantage of that. We also changed the physical location of our post-secondary readiness advisor's office. Mr. Ford and Ms. Sanchez were located inside the library, kind of out of the main traffic flow. We have moved them into an area outside in the hallway. Mrs. Harris did a fantastic job of reallocating a space that was already there that wasn't being used for that. And so they made 1 space into 2 offices. And so Mr. Ford and Ms. Sanchez are there, and kids are able to get in those offices and talk to them very easily anytime they need to. 1.3b, evaluate and refine district career readiness framework. What are our long-term desired outcomes there? We want to increase our CCMR indicator rating from 65% to 90%. If you remember back when we looked at the very first part of that, we had our score was 65%. That meant 65% of the students that graduated in that class graduated with a CCMR indicator. That means they took an AP class and passed the test. They had either 9 hours of dual credit or 3 hours in math or English, or they took and passed a certification exam through CTE, or they scored the appropriate score on a TSI, math and reading, or SAT or ACT. We would like to increase our industry-based certification exam pass from 15.2% to 30% by 2025. We've been working very hard with our instructors to do that. We pay for the test. We want to prepare our kids to take those tests and increase the number of students enrolling in post-secondary institutions or obtaining gainful employment.
I want to add, Dr. Avery, that this is one of those things that we hear a lot of out in the community is that, hey, not everybody's going to college. And this is a direct reflection, that work is a direct reflection of that. We're looking to increase those industry-based certifications and increase students who are going on and being successful in college. And so it's a dual approach.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we're doing right now is that we have had at least 3 meetings. I've been a part of 2 of them where we're talking to TSTC to find ways for us to partner with them. We know our programs in CTE at Waxahachie High School, several of them are wildly popular, and space is a premium. And TSTC, one of the really cool things about TSTC is they get funded by how many kids they get employed when they graduate. And so they have a high incentive to get students jobs. And so we're looking at ways we can partner with them, and they're looking at ways they can partner with us, and it's very exciting. CT has already had its first industry partnership meeting this fall, and that's where they bring in partners from industries all in our area, whether they're construction industries, whether they are in cosmetology area, or whatever that aligns with our CTE programs. Mrs. Treat runs that group, and they come together several times throughout the year. They help teach us what they need our kids to be able to do when they leave us, so then we can help get our kids ready for employment. Another one in 1.3 is increase exposure and awareness of armed service post-secondary opportunities. WISD will provide support for students to apply for and enroll in service academies. That's really a hard thing to do, but we're really lucky. We have a fantastic congressman in Jake Elsey, and he is a partner with us. We had the first ever, to my knowledge, Armed Services Service Academy Symposium. We hosted it on September 7th at Waxahachie High School. It was open to anybody in the county that wanted to come. Jake Elsey's office was there to let parents and students know who are interested in the Naval Academy, the Military Academy, the Air Force Academy. There is an academy for the Coast Guard. There's an academy for Merchant Marines. There's all different kind of service academies. It's not just those top three. And having a good relationship with your congressman is key for that. It is key, and I know that from personal experience as a principal in another district. And so I'm really excited about this. Finally, the last one is annually increase our student involvement in extracurricular, UIL, and co-curricular enrichment activities. We know when students are a part of something in their school, they come to school more often, they do better in their classes. It's pretty simple. And number three, they behave themselves because they don't want to get in trouble with their coach. So long-term desired outcomes, we'd like to increase the percentage of students engaged in these activities. We would like to increase our quartile decile rating in the Lone Star Cup. What is the Lone Star Cup? You may have heard of that. It's a way that different classifications of schools compete with one another and could win the Lone Star Cup. Basically, the school that has the most points in this, and it's rated on not just varsity sports, how well your varsity sports do. You get different amount of points for district championships and playoff runs and by district, etc. But you also get points for academic UIL. You get points for marching band. You get points for one-act play. One-act play got us 10 points last year because we went to the state meet and got second place. Okay? So where were we last year? We were 41. Okay? We had 41 points. We were 9 points below the top quarter. Top quarter was at 49. Okay? The school that was the number one school in 6A was South Lake Carroll with 131 points. So we've got a ways to go. Okay? But this is an area where we want to improve. Gives us a place to start. We know where we are. We know where we want to grow to. It doesn't say we want to win it next year. We say we want to increase. Okay? We want to establish a baseline amount of annual scholarship awards, and then we want to increase that. And then we want all extracurricular, UIL, and co-curricular staff to have adequate leadership. This is something that we provided as a part of the first report around this particular part of the balanced scorecard to our DLT was where are we in fine arts, athletics, and CTE. So how is our enrollment there? So, you can see our enrollment for choir pretty much stayed consistent from year to year. Dance enrollment about increased some. Band enrollment stayed consistent. Theater is booming, grew by 120 students from 2021 to 2022. And our art class enrollment continues to grow. Fine arts is a requirement of graduation. Every student has to have at least one credit. What happens a lot of times is kids fall in love with it and they want to take more. They want to take drawing, then they want to take ceramics, then they want to take ceramics too. Or they get in band, they really like it, they want to be in band all 4 years. You know how that goes. This is really interesting. When Greg put this slide up, 7 through 12, we have 100 teams. That's A's and B's, boys and girls, JVs, etc. Every sport, 100 athletic teams that compete for our district. And that's in a one high school town, okay? 26% of the students at WHS participate in athletics, and that's been pretty consistent for the last 3 years. One of the things that we talked about also that he showed us was where we are with the CAP sports. And a CAP sport's going to be a sport, or another way to call it is a cut sport, where coaches have to make that tough decision to cut. Because you can't have 100 girls on the volleyball team. You can't have 100 boys on the baseball team or the girls, they don't have enough uniforms. Nobody's going to get to play. When we think about that, and as Dr. H mentioned earlier, talking about growth and what we want to see, how we want to see students grow and be involved in things, this is an area where when we're looking at the dreaded second high school one day, where more kids have more opportunity. And that is a fact. Last thing here, career and technical education. We have 3,436 CTE high school credit courses, students enrolled in 3,436 CTE high school credit courses. 365 of those students are at junior highs. We offer high school credit CTE courses at junior high. So 2670 of those students are enrolled at WHS, and 401 students of those are at Global. Every student at Global is a CTE kid. Our total CT enrollment growth over the past 6 years is 54%. At Global, our most popular CTE pathways are STEM, health science, information tech, and at WHS, it's health science, ag. Our ag program, you guys know, is huge. We've had to add instructors because of the demand, and human services are the most popular at WHS. Culinary, if you build it, they will come. We had to add a third teacher this year. That's it, and it's amazing. Any questions? I know I said a whole lot of words and I said them fast. So any questions?
Anything for Dr. Averett?
I don't have any questions, but wow, that was excellent.
Thank you.
And it's wonderful to hear where we're headed with those long-term outcomes. It's just kind of mind-boggling. It's wonderful to see what we're doing for student success.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, ma'am. There's a lot of work for a lot of people that aren't standing up here tonight. I can tell you that. Next steps, in November, we will look at priority 3, which is community and stakeholder relationships. So be looking for that report in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Averett.
Thank you.
Next item will be informational report on WISD's professional development policy for district personnel.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Hollingsworth. All right, thank you for hearing our report on required staff development. The Staff Development Committee meets annually, both virtually and in person, to determine the format of required staff trainings adopted in Board Policy DMA Legal and Local. The committee consists of representatives from 11 different departments across the district. Trainings are scheduled to start as early as July 1st and will continue throughout the year. The Vector Solutions platform is the program used for the following required trainings: youth suicide prevention and awareness, child abuse, conflict management, cybersecurity, and health emergencies or seizures. Staff members have 90 days to complete the Vector Solutions trainings. These were available to all returning staff members as early as July 1st with a due date of September 30th. Training hours are added to a staff member's Eduphoria portfolio as well upon completion. Okay. Additional trainings are available and presented through different formats, both in person and online. The teaching, learning, and innovation staff are administrators of the following trainings: test administration and TELPAS, reading academies, gifted and talented, trauma, and grief-informed care. The Special Populations Department conducts trainings related to the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, throughout the year. Okay. And finally, the Director of Health and Wellness and the Athletics Department trains staff in the use of AEDs, safety, steroids, and concussions. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Anything from Ms. Burkhalter? Thank you very much. Okay, Board, next item is item 7, will be our consent agenda item. We have items A through J. I know that we have an amendment for item J that Dr. Hollingsworth will explain, but excluding item J, do I have any changes, questions, or anything? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. President, I'm going to ask Mr. Calden to make a slight amendment, and it's based upon our ability. We want to be able to make some repairs and upgrades to our flooring, and so I'm going to have him talk about that dollar amount real quickly.
Thanks, sir. So, Board, tonight we're asking to amend item J from $73,000 to a cost not to exceed $110,000. The original plan was to put a flooring down, replace all the carpet that's on the second floor and put down a flooring, but there were concerns that were raised about the ability to maintain and restore the original wood floor that's under that carpet. So the amendment that we're asking for tonight would be to actually go back in, remove the carpet, and restore and refinish the wood floors that are underneath. And so that would be the worst cost scenario that we would run into. And so we're asking for that amendment on item J.
And we're also looking at that snapping floating floor product as well. And so that's a possibility.
Yes, sir. It's our expectation, though, that would be less than the $110,000. So this would be the worst case scenario, going back in to remove the carpet and refinish and re-poly the floors back to their shine like you would see in the boardroom.
So the amendment is you want to change the number from 73,000 to not to exceed 110,000?
Yes, sir.
Any questions, comments? Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through J with the one amendment changing item J from 73,000 to not to exceed 110,000.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rogers,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Starnader. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, moving into action items A, consideration and possible approval to adopt the final Waxahachie ISD District of Innovation Plan. Ms. Mott?
Good evening once again, Board of Trustees and Dr. Hollingsworth. Now I'm here to talk with you about the District of Innovation Plan. If you'll remember back on August 8th, we started the plan for renewing our District of Innovation Plan, and the board received information on August 8th related to the process, and also you approved the appointment of a local District of Innovation Committee. The committee met on August 24th and August 31st. We had a great 2 meetings, lots of discussion. We went through lots of other plans from their districts, looked at other ideas, other areas of innovation that might help us. And I think we put together a really solid plan. That plan was posted to the website for 30 days beginning on September the 9th. And then here it is on October the 11th. We did a vote by the committee, and they were unanimously in favor of the District of Innovation Plan. And we're here tonight asking for approval of that plan. The areas of innovation that are addressed in this plan are the uniform school calendar, teacher appraisal process, uniform group coverage, teacher certification, probationary contract, campus behavior coordinator, and out-of-school suspension below grade 3. So a couple of new ones, some of the repeat ones from our previous plan. I can answer any questions at this time.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say that I just love these proposals. They're excellent. I want to commend all those people that were on the committee, because there were a lot of, they did a great job.
They did an excellent job. They really did.
I can add to that as the, as the school board representative to the DEIC. I know in those meetings, they did spend a lot of time. I feel like everyone on the committee got the opportunity to be involved and give their input. So that was
Yes, I felt
really
like we
good.
had really a lot of good buy-in. I had people contacting me first thing this morning, wanting to make sure their vote was counted for today. And so that really spoke to me that they had great buy-in. They wanted to be a part of it all the way through the end of it.
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item A as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Timmerman. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Schofield. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, action item B, consideration and possible approval of House Bill 4545 Student Growth Stipend Incentive Plan. That's a HB 4545 Student Growth Stipend Incentive Plan, sorry. Go ahead, David. Yes.
Thank you, board, again. Yes, you remember last year we asked you guys to provide, to approve a stipend plan for House Bill 4545 intervention or remediation or enrichment for students who needed that time based on how their STAR scores went and in accordance to that new law. That was kind of sprung on us a year ago in July. We had a lot of time to put it together. This was Esser funded stipends. You can see the asterisk there at the bottom. We had 134 teachers who received a $4,000 stipend. You can see what they added up to. We had 3 that received a $5,000 stipend. This is based on the number of minutes they provided services, and 4 at $6,000. And then we had a few folks that got hourly tutoring rates. Again, back to the balanced scorecard, priority one, student growth, every student grows academically. The term supplemental accelerated instruction is a term used to define a component of the House Bill 4545 statutory requirement. Talk about focus on student growth, growth versus proficiency. Student growth measures how much a student progresses academically during his or her time with a particular teacher. It considers the student's entering skill level when measuring how much the student grew over time, as opposed to measuring the student's proficiency on an assessment. Student growth isn't concerned with whether or not a student passes a particular test or reaches a predetermined or uniform benchmark. So we're talking about making every effort to reward folks for growing their kids and look at monitoring student growth, growing students academically. So why are we making this change? Quite frankly, we felt like we spent a good amount of funds and did not get the kind of result we were hoping for. In particular, we didn't see as much growth from students as we wished we had seen. So our proposal is to change how we reward folks for getting that growth. So again, we've talked about this a little bit about MAP tonight already, but whether or not a student meets growth on MAP, and the vast majority of this incentive plan will be based on MAP growth. There are a few students that may not have a need for 4545 for a test that's measured by MAP, maybe 5th grade science, 8th grade social studies. We will use a different an assessment, different assessment of that, most likely interim assessment or previous year's STAR to look and see what they did last year to this year and see how they grew. So what does MAP growth mean? In the example above, you can see the projected growth and the observed growth are calculated. So you can see the students' names are blacked out. That top one, the projected growth was 7. The observed growth was 7. So did they meet their growth? Yes. The next student projected was 10. Observed was 10. Did they meet it? Yes. The last one was 9. They saw an observed growth of -16. Did they meet that? No, they did not. So to calculate stipends amount, the overall percentage of students meeting or exceeding growth will be used to determine the final amount of bonus earned. So what is the structure of this plan? So 3 designations, recognized, exemplary, and master. This is for the teacher. Every teacher that works with 4545 students receive a base amount of $2,500 to be paid in 2 installments, once in January, once in June. And then for the students that they have in 4545, if 55% of them exceed or meet or exceed their projected MAP growth, that additional bonus paid in June will be $1,500. If 60% of the students assigned meet or exceed, that bonus goes up, it doubles to $3,000. And then if 70% meet or exceed, that bonus goes up to $5,000. Again, half paid, the first part of the $2,500 paid in January, the second part in June, and the full bonus paid in June. I believe this is an excellent opportunity for some of our fantastic instructors or teachers to be significantly rewarded for their hard work with students.
Dr. Avery, I have a couple of questions. So it's totally based on MAP growth. So what if they do great on the MAP growth, but then they bomb on the STAR? How does that work?
Yeah, so great question. And the STAR test, a student can show growth, even on STAR, a student can show growth and not pass the test. And so we would look at that, but we're going to use MAP because that's something we can watch throughout the year. We know we have a beginning of year, middle of the year, end of year MAP test that we can observe, and we do know that a kid may start really low with us, and we may make great gains with them, but they still don't pass their STAR test.
Right.
So that's
okay. Okay. And a little confused how this works. So we have a teacher that is specified to a group of kids, but they may not be the students that she teaches or he teaches in class.
Right.
So she or he is still working hard in class to be sure that their kids obtain growth, but how does that work? I mean, they won't receive any kind of a bonus.
So this is specifically looking at the students that are being served for the 45-45 in accelerated instruction piece of their day. not necessarily what they already have scheduled to be able to work on. This is just looking at the 45% because this is an added thing to them, because they didn't have this duty before. This is new. That's what we're looking at.
Okay. And then one last question. How long is House Bill 4545 funded for?
So, well, these are ESSER funds, so it's 3 years. We're in year 2 of that.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just add, Mr. President, that we've gone through a pretty long process to involve principals throughout this entire discussion, make sure that they were comfortable with what it is that we're, asking them asking to bring to y'all for approval. And I do want to point out that everyone will receive that $2,500 regardless.
Dr. Hollingsworth and I kind of touched on this at the last board meeting after it was over, but the ESSER funds are a great thing, and we certainly want to use them to the best of our ability, but is there an understanding with these programs moving forward that maybe if they're not sustainable, that when those ESSER funds do run out?
Yes, sir, there is, and it's been a conversation that we've had on an ongoing basis, and Mr. Calden is very good at reminding us on a regular basis of where we stand with those. And to be honest, we all remind one another that there are certain funds and certain programs that we have that we know we're not going to be able to continue. This is one of them. This is a nice thing we're able to do for this extra work with our young people, but we're very clear about the fact that this is by September 2024, this is no more.
Gotcha.
And the last thing I would say is the hope is we won't need it. That if we can get our kids where we need them to be, which is why the ESSER funds were given to us in the first place because of the learning loss that occurred during the COVID pandemic, that if we can get them back to where they were, we won't need this.
Anything else for Dr. Averett? Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item B as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Schofield. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McCutcheon. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And now I need a motion to adjourn. Motion
Second.
by Ms. Kriegel, second by Mr. Rogers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much.